Gonna go for two here.
He's going for two.
If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
That's just a heavy play.
Gonna go for two here. Go for two here.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
Gonna go for two here. Go for two here. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win. Gonna go for two here. Go for two here.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
Go for two here. Go for two here. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win. Gonna go for two here.
He's going for two.
If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
That's just a heavy play.
Gonna go for two here. Go for two here.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
Go for two here. Go for two here. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win. Gonna go for two here. Go for two here.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
Go for two here. Go for two here. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win. Gonna go for two here.
He's going for two.
If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
That's just a heavy play.
Gonna go for two here. Go for two here.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
Go for two here. Go for two here. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win. Gonna go for two here. Go for two here.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
Go for two here. Go for two here. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
Okay. Episode 95, which means we're getting closer to 100. Big one here. All the boys are back. Chad's back from Christmas. We thought we weren't going to have Kalen. But how were the Christmas plan, boys? We survived.
Yeah, hey, it was a green Christmas. It was not too hot, so didn't have to worry about any of that. I was spoiled. I don't know about you fellows, but I definitely got spoiled. I sent a picture of what my daughter drew for me there. That football, right? That's amazing.
Yeah, it's nice.
It looked like a Derrick Henry fumble.
Derrick Henry doesn't fumble. It's Deontay Foreman that fumbles, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, Ryan Tannehill does his part too, but that's about all the Titans talk we're going to have for today. Chad, how was Christmas for you? I know that the last episode you were at Christmas.
Christmas, literally, it just kept on going and going and going. I don't know if anybody else feels like that. Like that was like a whole week event. I just remembered when I was younger, it was just so like you just opened your presents and you were done, and it was a great time.
Yeah, then the biggest responsibility you had at Christmas was to do the dishes, right? You open your presents, you get the food, and then do the dishes, and then just sleep or play with your gifts, right?
Man, playing on that Sega Genesis was like that was like the best part of Christmas. You got that new Sega game,
I don't know why. I don't know why, but like the Nintendo 64, the kid that gets the first one, that the video that's like the most popular Nintendo 64 gift of all time video, it gets shown like every year now for the last 5 years, and I just keep feeling older and older and older with it, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
Man, I remember I got mad at 95, and like those guys, like there's like two little like straight lines as legs and like a cube for shoulder pads. And I would literally play as the New England Patriots because they had Marion Butts as a running back, and I was 10 and thought that was hilarious.
Jeez. And I mean, I'm happy that your maturity level hasn't improved since then, because this would be a pretty boring show if it had.
Oh, I would still find that guy if I could.
Yeah, I mean, look, like we're counting down here. Monday Night Football. One of Chad's favorite college players, I'm assuming that anyway, is going to get his NFL debut tonight. Now, Fins and Dolphins. I do got a same game parlay for you later on in the show here. Any reason for hope or optimism with Ian Book here? Because if they're calling Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers this weekend to try and come in for 1 week, that probably tells you all you need to know about what Sean Payton feels about the game plan tonight.
I mean, I look at it as like I think they're just there, right? Like they held Brady without his weapons and everything, right, to 9 points. They were just inside that game. I think if they had one of those like Phillip Rivers type quarterbacks, they probably could get the win tonight. I just think that the Miami defense has been a little opportunistic. Tua has played okay, and I've talked about it before. They win against bad teams, and they've been really stacking the wins against those type of teams. So this is like I'm not going to sit here and say that even after holding Tampa to 9 points that New Orleans is a good team. I think there's still certainly some pieces missing there that can make them a competitive team. Unfortunately.
Well, I'll tell you
I
about
just
somebody
think the
that's
Saints
been.
had.
Sorry, I'm just going to tell you about somebody that's been getting a lot of wins recently, and that's your boy sitting over here on that cool bet contest. They just pumped in another $100 into my account for winning another week, and
Wow.
I'm just telling you right now, I have a pretty good lead. A friend of the show, Kyle Turcotte, One Man Weave, he's in third place right now, so I feel like one of us is going to win this thing. And I just got to tell you, this is $10,000, boys. That's $10,000 on the line.
So
Obviously,
are you in first right now, or are you in second right now? 'Cause you've been running
I am
first
in
for a while.
commanding first.
Wow, commanding
weeks to
first.
play.
What is commanding first? Define that.
I'm up by like 30.
Holy shit! So
Yeah.
this is really just yours. You might as well just be counting the dollars at this point, then.
Well, look, right now I just want to make sure that I don't pull a Daniel Jones and fall flat on my face while I'm running free. But Chad, talk about this Ian Book character. Let's see what's up with the Irish.
Well, first, I'm gonna say I don't know if the Saints can pull this out. I know what they did in Tampa. I actually just think they have Tampa's number, they have Tom Brady's number. I think that's what it comes down to. I think it's just a stylistic nightmare for the Bucks. I heard something about Ian Book saying, like, if it wasn't for myself, just my own personal feelings in regards to this person, it might have been a compliment to Ian Book. But I was told he's a more polished, at this point in his career, version of Tony Romo. And I took it as a backhanded compliment, but that's just my hatred for Tony Romo. And that came from Dan Orlovsky. And that guy's not too bad at, his football knowledge is pretty good. But yeah, no, I loved Ian Book at Notre Dame. He does a lot of things with his legs, and I think that's one thing people aren't probably going to be ready for, because the Saints have never had quarterbacks who run outside of Taysom Hill, which is more of a fullback. He cannot make deep throws. That's going to be one of the things that is going to hurt him tonight if he has to get forced to throw a deep ball. He's really good underneath. He's got a good intermediate ball, but the deep ball he's not great at. That's one of the reasons why he fell so far in the draft. But with a guy like Sean Payton, who's going to design an offense built to help him, I do believe that. And you got Kamara there, so that's going to help. He's going to be okay that way. But outside of that, I think it's going to be a long day for him. I think Miami is going to win this game convincingly. I thought it was actually an insult. Yeah, and I thought it was a complete insult that they were only a 3.5 point favorite last time I saw. It was 3 this morning, and now it's 3.5.
Yeah. Well, I think I think people are starting to bet on the game, and that's going to move the line a little bit. But before he was in, I think it was 3 points to the Saints. So there's been a lot of line movement here. And do you guys want me to give the parlay now or save it for later?
Well, before you go there, I want to ask Chad something, because I know he hates Tony. But Dan Orlovsky, what was that man's claim to fame as a player?
I never said he was good at football.
The safety.
I never once said that guy. I never once said Dan Orlovsky was a good football player.
No,
I think some people are meant to be analysts.
Yeah. And
there's a reason you're a backup in the NFL for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like if you suck at breaking down film, you wouldn't be a backup. Blaine Gabbert. That's why he's a good backup. He fucking sucked playing, but he's a good backup quarterback. You can break down film. Chase Daniel. That guy's made $40 fucking million watching film.
Yeah, he's good at it.
Yeah.
What about Mike Lennon?
Oh my God, Jake Fromm really blew his chance there from the looks of things, huh? But we can talk about it. You want to talk about your parlay for tonight's game? Give us what that is. I'm interested.
Chad, am I good? I'm going against the rundown here, but I want to drop it out. Maybe we'll drop it in again later.
Well, I got mine. I can drop mine later. So.
Okay, jackpot. So, basically, based on what Chad was saying, made me think about it. So, I got the Dolphins -6.5. The old pepper grinder himself, Mike Gesicki, going over 45 receiving yards. The total in the game to stay under 47.5, and each team to kick a field goal and make it. That's plus 850. So go ahead and sprinkle a couple bucks on there and make something. Because I got to tell you, this weekend I was hot.
That's good.
I didn't even realize. Like, honestly, like Boxing Day, I was pretty swamped. But I placed some bets and I went and looked at my account after. I was, after I kind of freed up and I was like, holy shit, I did pretty well today.
Wow.
So I did this. The Steelers didn't cover plus 10 though, but it doesn't matter.
Woof.
I could lose one.
So you were talking about Ian Book. I got a fun little stat for him, but I was reading today actually. So they were talking about how it's destined to happen for him to have his first start against Miami. His first college completion was against the Miami Redhawks. His first college game in an NFL stadium was against the Miami Hurricanes, and his first NFL completion will be against the Miami Dolphins. So it just destiny, right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well,
Yeah, it's started you. If you jinx that, Kalen, you might be the worst human that's ever lived. This guy gets taken out first play of the game.
Thursday's show is going to be amazing if this guy goes like 0-12, 0 for 12 or something.
Or just tears his ACL first play of the game, just
they
out.
just run the New England offense.
Yeah,
And he goes
who are they
0
going to
for
bring
3.
out? Is Sean Payton going to come in and play quarterback if it comes down to it? Has he activated himself on the roster?
I don't even know who the backup is there, to be honest with you. Who is the backup now at this point?
Alvin
The
Kamara,
emergency is
probably?
I think Kamara probably is the emergency.
Yeah, they're
think I remember seeing that
legitimately on their
couple years
fourth
ago.
quarterback. I'm sure that they signed Blake Bortles. I don't know if he's actually going to be.
Bortles,
in
that's
the,
who it is. Yeah.
Is he going to be in uniform?
I don't.
That's
Oh, at this
wild.
point, smoking Bortles better be.
Yeah. Look, we got a lot of things to look forward to in Monday Night Football because both these teams are 7-7. As much as we're laughing about a 4-string quarterback, this is going to affect the wild card in both divisions or both conferences. Sorry. If the Dolphins are to win here tonight, they're going to be the 7 seed, and they're going to knock the Ravens back down because there was a little bit of wild stuff going on in the AFC, which we're not going to get into everything, but the Dolphins winning tonight. I don't know if has there ever been a team that was 1-7 that made the playoffs? That's got to be history, right?
I would assume so.
Well, I think it's like less than 30. If you don't have a winning record by the 5th game of the season or something like that, I think it's like 30% chance that you're not going to make the playoffs.
What
So if you're
about one win?
And
by
look,
the fifth
ultimately,
game of the
this is
season?
probably the last chance that they have at getting a win, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they have a very, I mean, next week's not going to be any easier, well, depending on what the 19 list looks like coming out of Tennessee. But yeah, they do have a tough road. I mean, this does have to be a win for them for sure. They definitely got to seize the opportunity with the weak team coming out of New Orleans. They're playing in New Orleans, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that dome gets pretty fucking loud, man. And there's been some miscommunications before in that Miami offense. So we'll have to see how that's going to function this game.
Lucky Lefty has had a couple pretty good games in that dome, so I'm not too concerned about the Miami offense.
Yeah, he's
tonight.
played a few there.
Yeah, they've done okay there. So we're happy about it. Everything is okay. By no means am I a Miami Dolphins fan, and I think at one point this year I wrote them off. But I do think that they're going to win tonight. Other team over there in Florida, and Kalen and I and Rick on Thursday, we buried the fuck out of the Bucks. Actually, you guys took up. I was like, there's no way they're covering 10.5 points against Carolina. Clearly, they went into Carolina, completely fucked them. No Fournette, no Evans, no Godwin. Obviously, that's absolutely no problem. AB out there just doing whatever he needs to do, holding absolutely ridiculous press conferences after the game. I don't know what's wrong with this dude, but clearly that perfect hit is still rattled around in his head. But I'm also not concerned about the Bucks after seeing that game.
No, Chad, you tell us, man. You're the fan. I'm not being nervous either. But what are you feeling right now? You almost kind of called to go into the game, Shane said.
Yeah, I thought we were going to go in there easily handed. I was actually shocked about how well we ran the ball because this year Ronald Jones hasn't done great. And we haven't even seen Keyshawn Vaughn really until this week.
No.
And he looked fresh, let me tell you. His legs were perfectly fine. And Bruce Arians did come out and say afterwards, he's like, no one realizes the luxury that we have. And I think now everybody else is starting to see it. And if they can kind of ride those 3 guys in the playoffs, like as much as I love Tom Brady, and he's probably the best that could maybe ever done it, he needs a run game. And it showed the difference of how good and effective he can be when he has one. We didn't have his 2 favorite weapons. They were not there. We moved the ball against a really good defense. Mm-hmm. And Antonio Brown did exactly what Antonio Brown was brought in to do. He didn't. He just ran underneath routes, speed outs, moved the chains, and that all those throws that were to him were just to build that confidence back up. And by the sounds of it, he definitely got it back. And a thing I saw today, he actually only needs 11 catches, less than 200 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and he gets $1 million in bonus.
Oh,
in the
so
next
he's
2
good.
games.
Yeah, I mean, there's
So,
with
yeah,
all
each-
the guys
each-
that are out. Yeah.
Yeah, so all 3 of those each pay him about 333,000. He's going to get at least 2 of those. And I can guarantee you Tom Brady will do whatever he can to make sure that guy gets paid. But yeah, no, AB did his thing, and the defense showed up. I know, obviously, Carolina's offense is nothing to write home about by any means. But we did what we had to do. I was a little worried about the way the Panthers ran the ball in the first half on us. We cleaned that up at halftime, and then it was pretty much was game over, case closed. I like they pulled everybody in the fourth quarter, so we got everybody else in to get reps, because with this whole 1-9 thing going on right now, I think the teams that could get some depth points, it's almost like in college basketball, you need bench scoring down the stretch. You might need that right now in the NFL. Get some bench reps.
College basketball, you need hit free throws, get some bench points, and have a white sharpshooter. That's how you get hot in the national championship.
And then like on the
That's
on the other side there, like the Carolina team there, like they're going in the opposite direction. Obviously, here they've had to reevaluate the quarterback position.
Horrible.
Rule talked about how he really can't even accurately evaluate the position this year based on the injuries and what's happened with the team. But then I've been the first to give Cam Newton shit the whole year, and every time he's touched the ball, probably in the last 2 years, I've probably been the first person to give him shit. That press conference he gave after the game, though, I do feel for him. Like you can tell that he loves Carolina as a city. Obviously, the team that drafted him and stuff, and him breaking down, like naming players that he just wanted to win for. He's like, I don't even care about winning for me. I just want to win for these guys. Like they were the ones who came before me and taught me what it was like to even get to that point. So I don't know. Like honestly, man, you see a guy talk like that, and I don't know how much more he can give to the sport. You're getting pulled here. He obviously didn't have a horrible game, but he didn't have a very good game. He was still pulled, and that was just to give Darnold back a little more experience and give some opportunity to evaluate him and what's going on there. But where does he go from here? Like, what can he provide to a team? Is he going to be that slash type player, Taysom Hill, that comes in once every 10 plays or 13 plays or something like that? I just don't know what more Cam can really offer to a team anymore at this point.
No, and he's not. And like, look, I this year I think Carolina got off to a start, and they were like, "Holy shit, we struck gold with Sam Darnold." And then things kind of came back down to earth a little bit. Darnold gets hurt, and they looked around and they're like, "All right, well, we're gonna lose anyway. We might as well sell some tickets. So let's bring in Cam. He's obviously a fan favorite. I can't imagine any Carolina Panthers fan that doesn't own a Cam Newton jersey of some type. So let's bring the fans back. Let's try and do this. Let's rally around the fact that we're clearly drafting a quarterback next year or going after one in free agency. Who knows what's going to be available? But I feel like the Carolina coaching staff gave up, and the firing of their offensive coordinator kind of backs that up a little bit.
The thing I noticed was like, and I feel for Cam Newton. I think it is over for him. But Matt Rule was kind of put into a shit situation at the end of that game. Like he kind of had to make a choice. And for the fans' sake, I think it would have made sense to leave Cam in to make the fan base happy. But the only quarterback they have on their roster who's there through next year is Sam Darnold. So you might as well take these last 2 weeks and see if there is anything there. Because you have 1 year left on his contract. You have no other quarterback there. Obviously, I think they are going to draft one or go looking for one. But I think they have to give – I think this was supposed to be Cam's final hurrah in Carolina. And I think in the first half, they were still kind of in the game. And I think that's kind of what happened. And they kind of got forced in the hand of playing Darnold, and they just kind of went –
Well, and what's shitty for them is they don't have a second-round pick. So either you got to take your shot in the first, and hopefully they land in a spot where they can actually get to a quarterback at that. And it's really not – a heavy quarterback, heavy draft either, like talented draft. So
I want to go on the record right now and say that everyone keeps saying that, and I keep hearing that everywhere. I believe that there's going to be 6 or 7 quarterbacks drafted in the first round.
I think they're just going. I think they're going between 10 and 30 though. I think that's what people don't think. It's like everybody's like, oh, it's not a quarterback class. Well, no, it is. But just because there's not Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields and Mac Jones and like these guys who are household names coming out of college, doesn't mean that they're not going to be good NFL quarterbacks.
Right.
Well, what I would say is, are these guys getting drafted out of their actual talent level, or are they getting pushed into the first because everybody's power hungry for a quarterback in the first round? And a quick answer.
I think that there's going to be some scouts that see some stuff. Like there's that kid from Liberty that's actually, I mean, Chad and I watched the bowl game, and this guy's arm talent is unbelievable. Like off his back foot, 75 yards down the field. Unbelievable.
Did you just hear what you said, though? Liberty. A quarterback out of Liberty going in the first round. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like that.
Look,
like,
we're
that
talking we're talking about a quarterback from Liberty, a quarterback from Nevada. Everyone knows Carroll from Ole Miss, Hartman potentially from Wake Forest. Like the
Kenny
list
Pickett,
is going
like Pittsburgh, like.
And that's another one. Like, is he a first round quarterback? In reality, is he? He's going to be, but that's what I'm saying. Is he taking that by his actual talent level, or is he taking it out of the need of these teams?
Well, the difference is, are you taking your future at 11? Probably not. But if you're telling me 5 of these kids are sitting between 20 and 30, I bet you we watched the longest 10 fucking draft picks in the history of the NFL draft.
Oh.
Like Shane and I watched the McAfee do the live draft last year. And let me tell you, that guy had a lot of fucking beers.
Yeah.
And I think that if there's 5 quarterbacks this year, it's going to be another long one. Like, I'm probably just not going to work the next day.
Well, yeah, I mean, so you're saying that are they getting pushed up? But I guess the question back to that is what would make them not first round picks? Like what? I know you're saying like need is pushing them up, but
it's not just need, it's flash. It's I got a quarterback in the first round, so the bad teams get to sell tickets right away for a quarterback that's maybe not actually first round worthy. Like
I don't even know if it's going to be bad teams. I think it's going to be good teams drafting quarterbacks.
I agree. The Mac Jones thing, I think that's going to catch on. I mean, the 49ers probably should have taken Mac Jones at third where they wanted to. Trey Lance would have slid a little bit, obviously. Maybe that means Justin Fields doesn't end up in Chicago. Anything is possible. But there's a lot of guys that are going to get drafted here in the first round. And I don't know. It could be for the reasons that you're saying. But if you were looking for a fifth-year control for a player, because first round is getting you that extra fifth year, would you want it to be an offensive lineman at 24, or would you want it to be a quarterback? You know, the Baltimore Ravens right now are pretty happy that they traded back into the first round and took Lamar Jackson. As much as he's not going to be a first-round pick, or he's not going to be one of those guys that you pay $500 million for, he's still the guy that you want.
Oh, no, I agree. There's only 3 positions that I think are worthy of first-round picks, and that's or maybe 4, I guess, if you go corner, wide receiver, edge, and quarterback. I just think that the quarterback position has been really in the again, I bring back Liberty. I don't care if I had said to you back when we were living together that there's a first-round quarterback talent coming out of Liberty, you probably would have laughed at me. But because of the direction the NFL has gone, you got teams like North Dakota State and Carson Wentz becoming a first-round pick for no reason. They get good film, but he wasn't really first-round talent worthy. We've seen that. What's happened with him?
He's a Super Bowl champion.
Is he? Or was Nick Foles the Super Bowl champion? Oh,
yeah,
I guess
he has a ring.
Yeah.
He's got a ring.
Stop.
He's looking pretty good in Indy this year.
Yeah, he's looking great in Indy with one of the best offensive lines in the league. I mean, quarterbacks are going to look good there.
Yeah, he has a great running back. I know another quarterback that's a really good running back too.
That's not Adam, unfortunately. But that's what I mean. That's my stance when it comes to the quarterback position has really been pushed into the first round. We've seen people that get reached for. Brandon Weeden is I know you're going to make it's Cleveland Browns. Whatever. That's an example of another team that just reached and reached and reached because the first round needed to be a quarterback and needed to be that sexy pick, and they did it twice. So I just don't know like what you're really. Zach Wilson was another one. What has he done for us this year so far except for be injured to turn the ball over for his team consistently? I guess he actually only had 100 yards rushing.
I think what people have to realize is you can't.
Yeah, Zach Wilson and Brandon Weeden are 2 different guys. Like I wouldn't.
I don't think you can like rate these like first round quarterbacks. Like the problem is you expect them to play, and realistically, I think why these kids are going to be good quarterbacks. Like this group coming in, I don't think there's no stars in there. I actually do believe that, but I think we're going to get a good quality group of starters, It's a fact that I think majority of them are going to sit on the bench for a year or two. And that's why that 5th year option becomes so important. So yes, I do believe you, Kalen. Is it need or splash? But I think a lot of it comes out of the business side of like, if I have an extra year to develop somebody, I'm going to take it. First round picks don't cost you money anymore. So you can do that.
I think.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, but I think I do agree with what you're saying. Yeah, it's that need and want. Make that splash. But long as I think these teams need to start being patient. And then if we can do that, then we're going to see these kids coming in. They're not throwing them into the wolves right away.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's going to be the Jordan Love situation all over again, right? Like, we all laugh about that, but that actually does work out. It's no different than what they did the first time.
Oh, yeah. What do you got going on there, Shane? You're doing a lot of dancing.
Hey, we got some technical difficulties going on over here, but we're okay. I rebounded. We're good.
So you're wearing your Michigan State shirt. I don't know if you guys had the opportunity to see that new Leonardo DiCaprio with Don't Look Up yet. They make a pretty good. Yeah. Did anybody catch the Michigan State reference in there? They got these these astronauts or these space guys coming in that have all this knowledge, and he's like, yeah, they're from astronomers. Sorry, saying that they're from Michigan State, and the guy's like, Michigan State? Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Michigan State? It was just awesome. I know as soon as Shane sees it, he's gonna have a little chuckle to himself too.
Yeah, they're really known for an academic school.
Yeah.
I don't think you can put the word state in a school and I think academics.
Yeah.
All right. Problem solved. I just realized what it was. I didn't have my extension cord plugged in. We good.
Tech guy Shane coming through.
Yeah, look, I mean, my camera was dying. I was trying to figure out what the hell was happening. I went on battery saver mode. Yeah, I don't think that should be offensive to me. I didn't go to Michigan State, so my education's not from there. And ultimately, you don't want your school to be smart. You're going to get better players. Your
hey,
recruitment's
whoa, easy. I'm right here, man.
Yeah, hey,
why are you going to do me like that?
We're going to see what a Notre Dame quarterback can do. Like, when was the last time a Notre Dame quarterback played in the NFL?
Jimmy Clausen, probably.
Yes.
Yeah, Deshaun Kaiser.
Oh, Deshaun Kaiser,
Stud.
yes, who's on the practice squad for the Titans, I believe, still.
Stud.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like,
Yeah, we don't put out
Brady-
quarterbacks, all right?
Brady Quinn.
He says
You
you're
know what I
such
mean?
an
Come on.
ass.
We're not known for as a quarterback factory.
Look, I mean, you want to ask the last Michigan State quarterbacks to play in the league. I mean, Kirk Cousins, pretty good. Brian Hoyer, he's been everywhere. Jeff Smoke, that guy played for the Rams for a cool hot minute. There's some guys out
I think
there.
I've even
Connor
heard that
Cook.
name.
Connor Cook was the guy with the Raiders. He stunk. I mean, he was probably as good as
Wasn't he with
Jimmy Clausen.
the Washington football team when they were named the other thing? Didn't he play for
No,
them too?
that was Kirk Cousins.
Did Cook didn't play there?
But yeah, we went off script here. Let's go.
Yeah, no, yeah.
We are long past our script now.
Yeah,
We might
hey,
have just like.
hey, this thing is.
Kaylee got me
off the
heated
rails.
on first round quarterbacks, all right? And
Yeah,
now the script
hey.
no longer exists.
We're back on the rails. My extension cord's plugged in, so we're good. Packers
I'm on my
have
third Ryan
won
Coke.
the North.
Speak for yourself being on the rail, Shane.
Oh, we're back on the rails. Don't worry. We're back on the rails here. Packers won the North. I'm a little bit concerned about that team based on the last couple of weeks. But they're the number one seed. Right now, things are going through Lambeau. But that defense just doesn't seem to be able to hold on to leads in the fourth quarter. I think that's going to be scary in the playoffs when you're not playing a superstar like Baker Mayfield, who was the first overall pick.
Stop it. But but was he the first quarterback taken too?
Yeah.
Well, he was the first overall pick, so I would imagine so.
yeah. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. That's
but
at
hey,
Michigan
but-
State University for Kalen over there.
Yeah.
I told you, third round go. But Shane, that's exactly it. The Browns, I mean, they pushed Green Bay to the brink there, right? And that's exactly what I said was probably going to happen coming into that game. I'm a little bit worried for them as well, but I'm not going to be worried if they get home field advantage. And again, we talked about this before. The cold, any of those teams having to go through the cold weather, it's going to be shit for them. The Green Bay is used to it. They're probably out back sunbathing right now, enjoying that cold weather, getting used to it. So I don't think they really have to worry about it. You're right. The defenses looks suspect lately, but they're missing some corners too, right? Like that's what their bread and butter is this their secondary coverage. So
Yeah, I mean, Rasul Douglas seems like he plays okay at home. One positive note for the Packers fans, and if you want to bet on the Packers, that's the first time at home that they haven't covered the spread this year.
Holy
And
shit!
I mean, they
Hey,
came
really?
out with the win, right? So yeah. So
Yeah.
um,
Better
yeah, I
game
mean,
than you thought it was going to be for sure, though. I
oh
better game than
yeah,
I thought it was going to
definitely.
be.
Yeah, definitely a better game. And it was at one point, and I know that we talked about it on Thursday. At one point, it was coming down to the kicker,
Mhm.
and just didn't pan out. The Browns are going to do the Browns, just the way that they work.
Well, and then Baker at the end of the game, I don't know if you heard his little interview or whatever, but he said that everybody did everything right. The defense played well. I don't know, but the defense played well. The offense played like the wide receivers were in the right spots. The offensive line blocked well. Nick Chubb ran hard, right, and so
Nick
did
Chubb was an animal.
yeah. Everybody played well, and he said I just didn't get it done. And here we are in year what for now, Baker? This is year 4 or 5 now, right?
They picked up his option, so he's going into 5.
Going into 5.
Yeah,
So we're in year 4, and Baker's still saying I just didn't get it done. Right? That's
yeah. I think Joseph just said it best. The Browns are who we thought they were. As long as you were thinking the same way that I thought, because at the beginning of the season, Kalen, you were all inside of the Bengals and the Browns, and right now one of those teams has been panning out for you, and the Bengals. I bet you could go historically and look at this. When was the last time the Bengals beat any team twice in the same season and scored 40 points both times? I can't imagine that's ever happened.
I have no idea.
They beat dog shit quarterback, and I'm sure Bengals fans in the first quarter were a little bit worried, but that Bengals team has an opportunity to clinch their division, and right now they have 2 games left, both relatively hard. And the reason I'm bringing them up is next week they're going to play Kansas City. The week after that, they're going to play this Cleveland team we're talking about. So it's as likely to me that the Bengals go 2-0 as they go 0-2 in that.
I need them to win next week. I would really, really like them to win next week. Give me that first.
Yeah,
round.
but that's not what we're talking about. Yeah,
but no, man, honestly, they got all the confidence in the world at this point. Those guys can, I think, roll through Cleveland. That Cleveland team is absolutely lost. They really are. This last team last loss on the weekend was demoralizing for them. They have no more shot. They're on the outside looking in, and they're really on the far outside looking in. Doesn't matter if that was interconference loss or not, right? What are the games that they have left? They got the Bengals and who else?
The Steelers.
Oh
Monday
my
Night Football.
good God. So they're going to
So
come
it'll
out.
be-
So they go the Steelers and then the Bengals. So they're going to come out and lose all their emotion in that next game after getting. They're probably going to lose that game, and they're going to be absolutely demoralized for the last game of the season.
We're potentially looking at that, and we're not going to go into that game too much because we're going to have a show on that day, but that will potentially be Ben Roethlisberger's last home game. So that doesn't mean good news for Browns fans. I can't imagine he wants to go out at Heinz Field on a losing note. As well, the Kansas City team, they had no Kelsey this week and no Hill really productive, and that team still looked like they were playing off. Patrick Mahomes is back, so I think the Bengals have a tough road ahead. What's helping them right now is the fact that the Chargers, who own the tiebreaker on them, they dropped this week, and the Raiders fell. They've obviously beat the Ravens twice, so that's not a team that they need to compete with. So I think it's pretty safe to say that the Bengals are going to be a playoff team, but they are going to have to win one of those 2 games. I think that their best chance is going to be against Cleveland, and we'll see how she goes. A team that has reemerged as a playoff team, and I think it's been 5 years since they've been in the playoffs, but the Dallas Cowboys, with a 56-14 embarrassment of Sunday Night Football, come out, absolutely kick the shit out of Washington. And I think that DeMarcus Lawrence might have made the best football play I've ever seen in my life.
The interception?
Yeah.
It's crazy is that, I mean, I understand that the score was absolutely out of hand, but after Burrow did earlier in the day, like the yardage and the touchdowns he had, I'm surprised they didn't just let Dak go loose and just see what he could do. Because he had like 300 yards going into halftime and 3 touchdowns or 4 touchdowns. Like, why just let him pass the entire rate, halfway through the fourth quarter? And it's a division opponent too, right? Just stomp him.
That's why.
I honestly, the only reason I think it was because Ron Rivera. I think he's the most respected probably coach in the league. I think that nobody else would want to stomp him into the mud like that.
No,
you got to play them again. That's a divisional team.
To get hurt.
Yeah. But can we just talk about the Cowboys for a second?
Yeah.
Tyler Heineke, Mike Glennon, the backup in Washington, and they beat a really bad Saints team. That's their last 4 wins.
Oof.
They lost to Derek
Are
Carr.
you saying they're Fugazi? Are you telling me they're Fugazi?
They're fugazing all of us. Lost to Derek Carr, lost to Patrick Mahomes when the Chiefs were playing like dog shit, and they lost to the fucking Broncos. Don't tell me you're a playoff team. I was high on the Cowboys. I actually was. And then I actually looked at it today because I was like, man, this Cowboys team are fucking legit. They can score. I was high on them at the beginning of the season. I wrote an article saying they were back, and I was like, oh, I might be wrong. Like, when you're only beating slapdick quarterbacks and kids come out the fucking practice roster in the fucking elementary school bus, coaching high school football games, don't come out here and tell me that you're going to win. You're not winning the NFC. You're not beating Tom Brady. Not a chance in hell you're beating Aaron Rodgers right now. And Matt Stafford plays like dog shit, throws 3 picks, and the Rams team still wins.
Get him.
I'm sorry. The Cowboys are the Maple Leafs of the NFL. Their fans are stupid. They're annoying. They wear white New Balances and jean shorts to football games. And I can't stand them. It's that simple. And I like the Cowboys to be in the year. And I actually did some digging. I was like, oh, wow, they're actually not that good.
Damn. Okay. Well, they're going to be in the playoffs either way. So that
I didn't say they were.
I'm pretty sure that that Chad has made his stance. So bet against whoever the Cowboys get in the first round in wildcard weekend.
No way. That team is way too powerful. I'm going devil's advocate on that.
Yeah,
think of the NFC quarterbacks though. Think of the quarterbacks in the NFC. The worst one right now is Kyler Murray.
Yeah, so yeah. When
that's
it
you
comes
have to
down
play
it, and I look
against.
at the Cowboys, I want to say that for the first time since I seen him lose to Michigan State, Ezekiel Elliott looked like he was actually running with a purpose. And I think that he realizes that his job is on the line, and Tony Pollard is not, as Chad would refer to, as a slapdick running back. This is a guy that's a legitimate threat to take his gig. And if Elliott and Pollard can both run the way that they're capable, that takes a lot of pressure off Dak. And Dak looked really good last night. I think it'll be fun to watch that offense play. The defense is much better than last year, so I don't think that they're a one and done unless they bring Tony back to hold the extra point snaps. But look, Chad's hot take is out there, and
this guy's asking me about Aaron Rodgers' playoff record. And if you're telling me you're going to put Dak up against A-Rod, you should just stop fucking watching football together. Do not bet on it. You're going to be broke. If you're telling me you're taking Dak Prescott over Aaron Rodgers.
I think, but to be fair, I mean, you got to take the Dallas offense. They're the number 1 offense in the league. They're the number 6 running offense in the league, the number 3 passing offense in the league, number 1 overall. They're number 4 in sacks. Like they're number 2 in turnover differential. They bring way too much in a stacked NFC conference when they didn't even have their quarterback, who's also coming back off of an injury. I get
Can
it.
I say one thing?
They beat
I
some
see
Packers.
Monday Night Football preview is over here, and they're showing Ian Book warming up, and I'm telling you right now, this man is way too nervous to play football today.
Yeah, you got the doe eyes.
They showed his eyes. He's not ready. Like, I'm sorry, he's not ready. Like I want him to do well, 5th round pick, whatever. I actually didn't hate him at Notre Dame. He's not ready to play tonight. But anyway, Kalen, go back.
Yeah, they just bring a lot. And they're in a kind of shittier, weaker division as it is right now. But they've definitely beat some decent teams. They have lost to some questionable teams, but Denver's also beat some pretty good teams this year as well. I'm not ready to write off Dallas, especially after that last performance. They have everybody clicking on all cylinders. You're able to get maybe 15 carries or 15 to 18 carries each with Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott, and you only have to ask Dak to pass 20 times. Shit, that's a lethal offense, especially if their offensive line is fully there. They haven't really had that all year either. They've been kind of juking and jiving between COVID and injuries the whole year as well. They finally got their pass rush intact, and you can kind of see that. You mentioned DeMarcus Lawrence. Having him back is huge. He missed 9 weeks, right? So him being able to come back is a big development for them too. Just got to see who they got to play in the playoffs, who they got to line up with, because I don't think Dallas is going to have fun playing in Green Bay.
No, and that's the thing, right? Like if you put Dallas against the Saints tonight, like you got to think that Dallas is the team, but the Cardinals are on a complete backward slide. Now, the Cardinals might be a team that you don't want to face rolling into Wild Card Weekend, but the Rams are making it so. The Rams have been playing a little bit better. They haven't won pretty, but they're winning, and obviously that's what really matters. Rick was on here and he was telling us that he really doesn't believe in Stafford, and look, he might be right about the Stafford stuff. We haven't really seen it to judge it, but when it came down, if it came down to it, if you're putting a little bit behind the Cardinals, the Cowboys, or the Rams, I mean, which of those teams are you backing?
I think I would take the Cowboys. I would. They've shown me more. I think overall, at least defense is really scary, but Stafford, people have been able to shut him down this year. They've been able to show that he can be shut down, and Robert Woods is still a significant loss. Odell's really filled a spot, right? But I'm worried about that.
Yeah. Well, I know Chad's rolling with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I have to at this point. But I like the Rams team, man. That team, you were high on the beginning of the year, and I kind of said no. And a little Destiny's Child reference there if no one got that. But no, I
Get some NSYNC.
No, I like-
bye.
no, the Rams won ugly, and I'll take an ugly win down the stretch.
On the
And
road against a good Minnesota team.
And it showed that Matt Stafford doesn't have to play his best game, and they can still win a football game. And I'll take that down the stretch because you're going to play some tough teams. And if everybody thinks that Matt Stafford's going to throw 3 touchdowns every single week, no quarterback's doing that.
No.
So if you can still win against decent football teams, good football teams, that Minnesota team has played spoiler to a bunch of different teams this year. I think their record is actually, I think, a good football team they can be. But yeah, winning ugly, I think that shows something down the stretch of the NFL. So I like the Rams team. I'd rather win ugly than win pretty, or lose pretty, I should say.
Yeah, and look, I mean, at the beginning of the year, we did our Super Bowl picks, and I had the Bills and the Rams, and probably 3 weeks ago, that made me look like a bit of an asshole. But right now, after this past week, I mean, the Rams getting the win, the Bills, who I was super high on going into this week, and I told everyone to go bet on them. Clearly, they fulfilled their destiny. They beat the Patriots. They beat the Patriots in Foxborough, which is obviously a huge deal. And they've retaken security of that division. So, any concerns about the Bills moving forward from here? Or, I mean, does that win kind of solidify things for you?
Well, I mean, I'm going to kind of have to bring up a team that the Cards, because we were just talking about them. Nobody wants in the AFC wants to play the Colts. Hands down. Bills, you talking about, like, are they anything to worry about? Sure, if they meet up with the fucking Colts, they'd have something to worry about. That's a team that can absolutely shut them down, for sure, and they can certainly play against it offensively. We just saw a team that went against the Cardinals who don't have a very bad front seven, and they didn't have their entire starting offensive line playing, right? I know I just made that comment about Carson Wentz and being good behind a really good offensive line, but he didn't have him this week. He still played pretty freaking well. And the run game is still there. Their defense is still dominant without Maniac in the game too. So that'd be the worry for the Bills. How are you going to match up against a team like the Colts? Because that's likely. I mean, that might be where this is steering, right? I think right now they have the division, right?
Yeah, they have the division, and they have the. I would assume they were a little bit above the Bengals. So right now, I think the Colts would line up against the Bengals, which would be a wild game. But if it came down to it, yeah, you might be right. They're not really like a cold weather team that's supposed to be, like, to us is considered a tough nosed team. Isn't built to stop the run, and they don't really run the ball well. So that might be a team that gets you into some trouble.
Yeah.
So for the Bills, I think that they're back on track. But as far as the AFC, and we're looking at scary teams and a team that you don't really want to play, at this point, that has to be solely owned by the Chiefs, right?
Currently, yeah.
Yeah.
They definitely look really strong on both sides of the ball. Patrick Mahomes, you mentioned, is back. He's throwing the ball just like he should. No, and there's very few quarterbacks in throwing the ball he is doing. And Tyreek Hill was more of a decoy. You mentioned that. He still played. It was nothing hampering as far as like the 1-9, but he certainly was a decoy on the field, and they didn't really need to utilize him a whole lot. Travis Kelce not being there, that was huge, and it didn't seem to matter at all, right? So Another team that can just seems to plug and play. Randy Reed said he likes seeing his players come together like he likes eating a big prime rib. So keep the coach happy.
Well, I think he likes his prime rib. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever said no to it.
No. Well, I mean, for the Chiefs, like, yeah, I wouldn't go ahead and call this win like a game stopper for them. It's not necessarily. I mean, even you guys all know diehard Steelers, whatever. I told you they weren't going to win this game, and I was fine with it. But going down the stretch, I don't think that the Mac Jones Patriots want to face these guys. I think the only team that I would back to beat the Chiefs right now, and I'm basing it on current roster, so we don't go off onto a tangent, Guy Renatuke. I'm going to say that the only team I would back right now is the Bills. I think that the Bills are the only team that can go toe-to-toe with them and play in the AFC Championship game. The Bengals are too inconsistent. The Colts don't have the firepower. The Titans are too banged up. The Chargers are again, another team that's incredibly inconsistent. And you could continue to go down the line and down the line. The Ravens don't have anybody to play quarterback, so I think that we're going towards the Bills and the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game again here.
I'm just going to swallow here so I don't go on a tangent.
Wouldn't be the first time you did that, eh?
My God. Just the worst. Just the worst.
You just sat there right there up on a plate for us. You knew one of us were gonna say it.
Yeah, a bunch of savages. Look, I mean, yeah, the AFC is what it is. Another point that I had on here, and it's something. Look, this game won me some money, fellas, and I actually had the Bears to win this game. And this 2-point conversion. No, I had the Steelers plus 10.5. I'm still one of those guys that bets with their heart. Look, I had the Bears on the money line here. I also had them paired up with the Bills on the money line, so you can imagine what that parlay looked like. And that 2-point conversion, it turned things around for the bankroll, and it turned things around for probably the Bears coaching staff, who I don't believe are going to get fired, as stupid as that sounds. But if I were to fire a coach coming out of that, and it's the Seahawks aren't going to fire Pete Carroll, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get a thing that says that Pete Carroll resigned. Kind of similar to what the Steelers gave to Bill Cowher, which was like, hey, we really don't want to fire you, but like, you're not our coach next year either. So like, your pick, bro.
I don't know, man. It's that was an ugly game. 21 rushes out of David Montgomery. I can't believe like how it was so boring to watch. Like they just kept it was just gross football. Chugging ahead for 3 yards at a time. Bang, bang, bang. Nick Foles getting Duncan dipshit fucking pass yardage too. I don't know. That team is lost. We talked about a lost team a few minutes ago. That team offensively, when you have a coach that was brought in to be an offensive guru, they look pathetic and have looked pathetic for years. And I don't think it's as simple as like just actually getting a running back or getting a few offensive linemen to kind of carry the load for them there. Like they are years behind offensively.
Yeah.
And they got a lot of money wrapped up on defensive players too. So they got some decisions to be made too.
Russ, gone. Defensive players, gone. Pete Carroll, gone. Anybody I'm forgetting, Chad? Maybe they should get a running back that doesn't have neck problems. I don't know.
Might be a start. I think it has to be a complete flip. Clean house, get everybody out. You're so far away from what you need to have to compete in that division.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Cardinals are up there. The Rams are probably only going to get better going forward for the next few years, anyways. San Francisco, who never knows what team's going to show up, but for some reason they're never bad. And you're just trending in all the wrong directions, and you have a lot of money tied up in some veterans, I think, that aren't just panning out. And obviously, whatever message Pete Carroll is sending, maybe it worked for 10 years, but it's not working now. And it's time to pack up that chapter of the book, close it up, and move on. Bring in some fresh blood, bring in some of these young coaches. I think that's come the trend in the NFL now. Like he's the oldest coach in the NFL. He might be the coolest coach in the NFL. Well, second coolest beside Bruce Arians.
He's definitely the oldest guy in that division. mean, all
But I
those
think it's
guys
time to bring
combined
in some
probably aren't
fresh
his
blood.
age.
No. And I think it's just maybe time for him to retire. And it's just time to move on. He had a good run. And like you said, you give him the option to resign because you won't be here next year. And I think that's what has to happen. I think Russ will be following on his way out.
Well, don't forget too that Russ was the one who handpicked this OC, right? They went to him and allowed him to pick the offensive coordinator to bring in whatever he thought could work best for him as a quarterback. And so, if you're in a clean house, I mean, you really are making a decision to move on from the OC. Well, then you're going to have to make that decision to move on from Russ too.
Well, didn't Team 3 come out and say they didn't want to be there last year? Is that what they called themselves? Team 3?
They denied it, I thought, after a
Yeah.
lengthy trade rumor.
Yeah,
Well,
after
shoot
you
that
got,
shot
after you got to
immediately.
bring in his, he had to bring in his own coach. He didn't. I didn't want to get traded. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no way at all. He's back. Well, actually, let me put up. I'm gonna say 90% sure that Russell Wilson has a different uniform on next year. He's got probably 5 or 6 good years left in him as far as playing quarterback. They can't rebuild that roster and make him competitive enough. He's gonna go to an AFC team. I'm not even telling you that I think it's going to be Pittsburgh as much as they're probably going to be a team sniffing around. It might be something weird like, the Dolphins who are playing tonight, something like that. I mean, we don't need to speculate. We have a whole
Denver
offseason to speculate. Denver's a possibility. Chad, you got a same game parlay for tonight, right?
I do. I just pulled it up because I almost forgot what it was. I got a little nervous now. You told me Ian Book does not look good, but
Yeah. Obviously,
I said-
exclusively with our friends at Coolback Canada. Check out the lid. Check out the background for Chad. He's fucking official.
I got Ian Book throwing 1 touchdown. I went big on this one. I went Tua plus 225.
Okay.
Dolph by only 3.5. And I went each team kicks a field goal. I got that at plus 600.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, we're both on the same page as far as the Dolphins winning and kicking the field goal. So that's strong. I mean, I think that old Pepper Grinder is going to be pulling in a couple balls here if the Dolphins are to win by 6.5 the way that I have them here. So that's got any other NFL news to tie up, or do you guys want to spend a couple minutes on this New Year's 6 before we rock and roll?
I do have a question. We talked about the team that the Chargers lost to earlier, which is not a very good Houston team. But Davis Mills has played well. I mean, he's got 12 touchdowns on interceptions, but he's a kid from Stanford, right? So he's got some, production in his past. He's a 3rd-round pick. They're still going to need a quarterback, whatever situation kind of figures itself out there down in Houston. We don't need to talk about that. But is Davis Mills going to be their answer, being that they don't have any first-round picks? Is that the guy they're going to decide to roll with at this point? I mean, he's played okay. He takes the shots downfield when he needs to.
Well, I will answer your question with what you've been talking about for the entire show. And apparently they don't need a first-round pick to draft a quarterback. So maybe Davis Mills is the guy, and maybe they decide to pick something else with one of their other picks. But, yeah, since there's no first-round quality quarterbacks, I'm not sure they should waste their time.
I agree.
I also don't think there's a veteran hotspot. So
Yeah.
they might be stuck with him. That's the other thing.
Honestly,
And,
they're
like,
going to suck
drafting-
for the
if
next
you're
2
gonna
years
draft-
anyway. So, yeah, you'd rather have him anyway.
Like, and if you're going to sit there and draft a quarterback, we'll say in the 2nd round, 3rd round, you might as well just stay with the guy who's already started, played in the NFL. Why would you waste your first pick when you need help on a position that's really not really an upgrade? That's the way I would look at it. You need a lot of help on different levels, and you might as well start stocking draft picks so that you can start rebuilding somewhere, I guess. And then hopefully in a couple of years, either draft somebody or get a veteran. But with any pieces around you, you're not going to get a veteran quarterback at all.
Well, okay. So, I mean, this leads to kind of the next thought. So, let's say we're Houston and we don't have a first-round pick because they trade them all away because they suck at building a roster. But you might be looking
Thank
at
you,
a second-round
Bobby.
pick.
Thank you, Bobby,
Or-
right? Thank God.
Or you might be looking to trade into, let's say the first quarterback is drafted at 14, 15, whatever. Who is the first quarterback taken? Because we have 2 guys that are playing in bowl games this week and this weekend, Sam Hartman and Matt Corral, that are both looking to play for their bowl game. Are these guys playing to become the top pick, or are these guys playing because they love their program? Is this the idea? Can one of these guys thrust themselves higher? Can one of these guys make themselves a first round pick when we don't think that they are? There's lots on back there. Yeah,
You go ahead,
there's
Chad.
lots going back
You're the college guy.
Well, I never went to college. Let's start off with that. Let alone graduate.
Just seen it on TV.
No, it's when I was looking for like things like I was actually looking for topics to talk about tonight. Sam Hartman popped up, and I actually wasn't sure if he was playing. I knew Matt Carroll already came out and said that he made it very clear publicly that he was playing, and how Ole Miss embraced him, and how he owed it to their fan base, and blah 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 blah, and all those fun things. And the Sam Hartman one, he really didn't really come out and say anything. I think it was just expected he was gonna play. And it kind of got me thinking. I want to hear your guys' points too, because like I said, with this quarterback class, I don't think there's a star, but I think there's a group between that like 15 to 30, 20 to 30 range where we're going to see a bunch of them go off. If I'm looking for a quarterback and I see him finish what he started, if I'm putting two guys who are literally equal on my board, the guy who finished the job is the guy I would personally go with. Obviously, skill level. If there's no debate, I'm not taking the guy that finished out. But if I'm literally just comparing apples to apples at this point, and this guy stayed to play for his team, it would definitely tip the scale in his direction.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised that Chad's interested in the guy that finished the job. As far as as far as the quarterbacks go, I think like as the draft like process continues to work itself out, the name that you're going to hear a lot of, and he played in his bowl game today at 11 a.m., so no one watched it, is Carson Strong from Nevada. He's 6'6", 225. He can swing the ball around. He can run. He can run an offense. He is not Josh Allen. He's not Ben Roethlisberger. He's not any of these guys, but he will be a first-round pick, and he's potentially going to be the first quarterback taken in this draft.
I hate that when you compare really good quarterbacks, you always use Ben's name in there.
Are you talking about an 18-year veteran with 2 Super Bowls? Like, give me a break, man. If you don't think that he was a good quarterback in his prime,
There's just so many other
just
quarterbacks.
drop off. Just drop off. No, just drop off. You're being a fucking idiot.
Many other quarterbacks.
Oh yeah, no. Like we should talk about a guy that's a converted receiver. Yeah.
Can we actually talk about Ian Book's actual phenomenal tweet that he put out this week? How he found out he was to be the starting quarterback.
I haven't even seen it.
He literally came out and they asked him like, "Well, like, how did it feel to be the starting quarterback? How'd you find out?" He's like, "Well, I go to a pretty prestigious school, and I can definitely count, and I definitely saw I was the last guy."
That's pretty classic. It's like a buddy from the Ravens, the defensive coordinator for the Ravens, said that he wouldn't be selling the gold jacket to Joe Burrow just yet.
And get shit kicked.
So hilarious. But yeah, anyway, I mean, as far as, we're going to have tons of time to talk about college quarterbacks. Outside of the playoff, we have the New Year's 6 games. And I think that I'm pretty sure who Chad is going to be watching for the New Year's 6. Now, is there another game that intrigues you?
I'm going to be hungover that day. All football is going to intrigue me.
And I said not New Year's Day.
No, yeah, I didn't read it. I just
Reading's hard.
New Year's 6. Anyway, yeah, well, I mean, the obvious game for me, and it's lost a little bit of its luster because Kenny Pickett has dropped out. Kenneth Walker III has dropped out, but the Michigan State-Pittsburgh game is going to be huge for me. That's going to be on Thursday at 7. That's actually going to be on while we're filming, or while we're on here on Thursday. So the first quarter is going to probably be a wild one on here. Look, I think that based on the fact that Kenny Pickett's decided not to play, Calvin Slovis has decided to transfer to Pitt from USC. basically tells me all I need to know as a bettor, and they don't have a quarterback sitting there that can replace Kenny Pickett, and that's why they went and got Slovis. And this one is going to be a Michigan State shit kicking.
Well,
Take it by like 21.
I'm going to be interested to watch the Oklahoma State and Oregon game, just because all year we talked about like whether or not which team deserves to be in that college
I
playoff.
think you might be wrong on who they're playing.
It's Oklahoma and
I meant to say Oklahoma. Sorry, Oklahoma. I didn't mean to say Oklahoma State. But all year long, and all year long, we talked about who deserved to be there in that playoff. Final. Was it that Pac-12 team, or was it Oklahoma coming out of the Big 12, and who actually plays better teams, and yada yada yada. So this is an opportunity, I think, where these teams can go against each other and kind of answer our questions for us. Who actually is the better team? Who's coming from the better conference, and who plays the better competition overall? So I'm interested.
I actually picked. I did pick that game. I picked the same game, mostly because you have two interim head coaches going at it. Bob Stoops is coming out of retirement for this game. Oregon has a
I'll back them then. Yeah, I'll back them.
Oregon has a coordinator coming in because both head coaches obviously are nowhere near ready to come in and coach.
You probably don't like Oregon right now either, right? Shane, they poached a coach from you guys today.
Our offensive line coach, give me a break. You've watched football this year, right?
Oregon is missing 3 defensive starters, a top NFL draft pick. OU's missing 4 defensive starters, their 2 top linebackers, 2 top defensive linemen aren't in. And I think this is like for both teams, it's a kind of a statement game for your offense. It's like you're missing so much star power on defense, which is crazy thing about Oklahoma because they couldn't stop anybody all year. But you could see this like a guy like Caleb Williams, like this could make this kid a household name if he goes out there and drops like 4 or 5 touchdowns on somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody outside the Big 12 might actually recognize him, and it might make him stay. So like if I was Oklahoma, and if Bob Stoops is a Oklahoma loyalist, which I believe that he is, and they have that much faith in this kid, I would be doing whatever I could to make sure he is the star of that game. And we're going to build this offense around you. And that's what intrigues me about that game. I want to see how it's going to play out because Caleb Williams' name's still being thrown in the transfer portal.
Yeah, if I was him, I would stick around because, Venables is going to come in there. He's going to make a stronger defense than Oklahoma has had in a long time. And they're going to be able to whip the ball around. I think that the Oregon team in general is, they can't even hang on to a coach that Miami barely wanted to hire. And it just seems like there's a revolving door in Oregon there. The team hasn't been bad, but as Chad's saying, if I'm putting Caleb Williams against Anthony Brown, Caleb Williams all day. And if this guy goes in the transfer portal, we've talked about Ewings and we've talked about a couple other quarterbacks that have transferred around. If Caleb Williams puts himself in the transfer portal, this is going to be a big one that gets himself back into this. And, there's probably, it looks like these guys are probably getting ready to kick off here. Anything else? Final thoughts before we roll out? Yeah, here goes kickoff.
Nope, no. I am good.
All right. Well, let's go enjoy a little bit of Monday Night Football. We'll pick this thing back up on Thursday for the Peach Bowl and Michigan State, and we'll break down a little bit of some of the other football that's going to happen because I'm sure there's other football happening. As always, make sure you're checking out the Facebook and Instagram, subscribing to the YouTube, check out the Twitch channel. And I don't know if I missed anything, Liam, but we're going to sign off, and we will